Hello, hello. This is day 64. Yesterday I said 62 the second time. It was actually day 63 yesterday. Today is day 64 of 365 days of my raw suspending disbelief journey. So I will one final, for now, one final trigger warning episode. And I should have said that at the beginning of yesterday's episode, and I'm very sorry. It will be in the middle of the episode. But trigger warning, one more time for today, and the entire episode will not be about the triggers, but I do have a little bit more to share. So, um, yeah. So, okay. June 25th, 2024. I slept in, turned off my alarm somehow. Um, Probably because the last several days have been so traumatic and I didn't even realize how exhausted I was. So yeah, we slept in until about 7 minutes after school started this morning. um, and I had planned a live training for my business membership that I have. I was supposed to be doing that like within an hour and a half of that point. Okay, so like very, very soon. I hadn't even finished my notes for it and all the things. I had to rush my kids. They were being very extra difficult because they have also been through a whole heck of a lot the last several days. Um, even my younger two, even though they've been pretty closed off and unaware of all of these details of the things that are going on with my oldest and her dad and all of this. There's just been a lot of upheaval. There's been a lot of changes, a lot of frustration on my part, a little bit less patient with them, things like that. And anyway, everybody was it was a rough start to the morning. Sleeping in is always a rough start to the morning, right? And my daughter, like, they're done most of the actual school activities, and it's not really that big of a deal. But I'm like, I'm not ready for you to be done school yet. Let's go to school, because I just need that last few days of like, I need to get things done, and I need to decompress a little bit especially after the last several days, and go to school, get all the phone numbers and all of that stuff so that you have lots of fun this summer and just like enjoy the last days of fun activities that they have and whatever. So my son as well, he's like, you're not. Anyway, it was one of those mornings. So we finally got out of the house. It was like the slowest, most fighting I think we've had all year to get out of the house, to get the kids to school. And my daughter's like, oh no, we're supposed to be on a nature walk this morning. So like they're not even gonna be at the school. And I'm like, well, where are they going for a nature walk? I'm taking you there. So we called the school, said like she was late, she'll be in. She's actually gonna meet them out in the wherever they are. So I'm not dropping her off at the school, but she is going to be at school, quote unquote. Right. And then there was just all this drama because my daughter was like, well, how are we going to find them? And she just wouldn't even try. And then she called her best friend and her friend wouldn't try. And finally I was like, put the fucking teacher on the phone because I'm done. And I got the teacher on the phone, and within less than a minute, we had it sorted out and everything was fine. Right? It was one of those things where it was just like, really, it's impossible. Nothing can possibly work out. Everything is horrible. Nothing is good. And it was like, oh my gosh, I'm done. I'm done. Please stop. And so we got her dropped off and then went to take my son to school. Um, and get into the area where his school is and see like 5 billion cars. And I'm like, what's happening? What is going on? We're late already, so why are there so many people here? Like, this is not drop off time. This is not, I'm like, what's happening? And I look at my phone, and of course, because I have been so highly distracted for the last several days, I did not realize or remember. I probably knew at some point, but I did not remember that today was his school festival day. and there was like all day activities. The family's supposed to come, like all of these things. Like it was, he needed to have money for certain activities. He needed to have like hat, sunscreen, whatever. He was going to be outside a lot. He needed. I had told him that me and Casey would be coming with him, that we would be doing these activities with him, on and on and on. And I was like, oh my goodness, I messed up big time, right? So I was like, number one, I had about half an hour left at this point. Now it's like 9:30. School's been open for like on for an hour. The actual fair was starting at 10, and I had scheduled my business training for 10 o'clock, and I had not even finished my notes for it. And I was like, okay, sent a message to my business ladies and was like, rescheduling again because apparently I'm a hot mess, and just it had to be done, right? I was like, there's no options right now. Like I am so done. So we had I was like, I saw the vehicles and was like, we need to redirect, and like stopped, and I looked at my phone and looked at the emails and was like, shit, 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 shit. So we had to go take the dog back home, get him in his kennel, grab a couple of things that me and Casey were going to need during the day, go to the bank, take out cash, like all the things, get there just after the fair starts, and then be there all day, right? And so half of my day was spent waiting in lineups for cotton candy and balloon animals and face painting. And I ended up at least being able to do my open office hours, like my business hours, in my Telegram chat for my business membership, and just still be coaching and all of that in the like hours, literally, of waiting in lineups. I was like, at least I can work on my phone. So at least there was that. The kids had a blast. I spent too much money, like all the things. Um, and then, but it was fun, right? We had lots of fun. And of course, then like the fair itself ended at like 2 or 2:30, not long before school's supposed to end. And so I was like, hey, well, I can just like take you into your classroom, and then we'll be back to get you in like an hour, 45 minutes or whatever. And my son was like, no, can I just come home? I don't want to do my. And it was like, you know what? You didn't even go in this morning, so you haven't done your agenda. You haven't done any, you know what? Whatever. Come home with me. So I signed him out and we just left. And by the time we ended up getting out of there with all of the vehicles leaving and everything, it was already like 2:30. Um, my daughter's school is out at 2:45, so I was like, we're just gonna go there and go pick her up. And it was a fly by the seat of your pants kind of day. And I'm actually very good with those, but at the same time, now I find them more frustrating than I used to. Like I prefer to have a plan if I can, and have it go to plan and have that just feel amazing and be great. Um, but anyway, so we picked up my daughter, went, took both the girls home, and I had to take my son then after this for um a lung function thing. Asthma, and he just the other day was tested for allergies and all these things. So I had to go drive into the city and take 45 minutes one way, be there for his appointment, and then that was quite long. And he wanted to do that, like go up and down escalators and go up the elevator and all these things. And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Let's just do it. What the hell, right? Like it's been a fun day already, but there's been a lot of like frustrated mama lately. And so, okay, the girls are at home. I texted Cadence and I was like, hey, there's some meat in the fridge. Can you fry it up? Like, cut up some onions, fry this meat, do this, do that. And had her doing that while her and Casey were at home. I had left Casey with her because I was like, she did not get a nap today. She needs to have downtime. Just, put a screen in front of her. She can just relax while we're gone and whatever. And he was like, insane. He was off the walls. And of course, it's because like all the cotton candy and all the treats, right? And He went up and down the escalators like so many times. Thankfully, it was like right beside a food court, and I went and got myself a tea and was just watching him go up and down the escalators for a while. And he was so freaking happy about going up and down these escalators. I never go to malls. I hate malls. So he was just like, "What is this amazing thing?" And he was like, "Up and down, calm down," and he was just so excited. And then he wanted to go on the elevator, so we had to go up and down all of these things, and he was just blissfully happy. And I was like, I so wanted to leave. I was like, I just want to get out of here. I want to go home. I want to be at home. I want to be able to get some work done. I want to be able to do anything that I want. I want to be able to clean my house. All this like that. This is not what I want to do. But what I did need and want more than anything in the world was his blissful energy right then. And he was just so freaking happy. Like he was ridiculously happy. He had his little toy transformer car with him, and he's like playing with that, going up and down the escalator, doing all this crazy. But he was so happy, and he was skipping and running and coughing up a storm because he was running. And like when he does any form of exercise right now, he's like has like again, right? We're there to test for asthma. Like it's because it's bad. But he was just so blissfully happy with all of it, and like I soaked that up, right? And I needed to soak that up. And I just allowed it to be what it was for as long as I could before I was like, okay, bud, like I'm really done now. Now we gotta go because I don't know if he ever would have stopped. Like he just was not getting bored of it. But nope, we gotta go. So came home to supper was just finished, which was great. Like I'm so freaking grateful. I'm not the best cook in the world, and my daughter is already getting better than I am at it. But I was so grateful that I have a daughter that's capable of cooking a meal, so I didn't need to come home late, start cooking dinner, all of that stuff. So that was nice. That was a good transition, especially because he was hungry by then, and Casey was hungry by then. Anyway, it was just one of those days where, again, I mean, I didn't get to do things my way. I didn't get to follow the plan. I didn't get to um, get all the work done. Again, like I wanted to have a very balanced day and have it be like, hey, I'm going to clean for a bit, work for a bit, clean for a bit, work for a bit. Like do these. I need to catch up on so many things in my life. And instead it was like, oh no, we're just going to a fair all day and we're going to play on escalators forever. And it was like, okay, and again, I'm good at that, and um, I chose this lifestyle because I wanted to be able to give that to my family, right? I wanted to be able to be there for the activities at the school, and I wanted to be able to let my kid go up and down the escalator 100 times if they want to, and all of that. And so, while being a little frustrated and wanting to do my things, I also, again, it was that duality, just like yesterday, where I am so grateful that this is my life. I'm so grateful that I've created this lifestyle for myself where I get to be this way, where I get to send one little message that just says, hey ladies, like I will be doing this tomorrow instead of today. I'm going to a fair today with my kids' school instead, right? Like, and they were all amazing about it, of course, because they are all amazing. And it just was like, I'm really grateful, right? I'm blown away every time that something like this happens. I'm like, I'm so freaking glad this is my life. I'm so glad that I get to be this flexible. I'm so glad that I get to bend and sway and twist and turn and pivot and not have to break. And as frustrating as some of these days can be, or as frustrating, at least in the sense of I didn't get to get the work done again, right? My house is still a disaster and I didn't get to get any work done. As much as there was that, there was also, I'm so fucking glad. I'm so fucking glad that this is my life. I'm so grateful that I get to just do this because there's no makeup days to these kinds of fairs. There's no like, well, not this time, but next time. It's like, no, you go or you don't be there, right? And it was special. and it was fun and it was memories, and those are important. And so choosing to feel what I want to create, and getting to just be in that, and choosing to allow my kids to feel what they want to create. That is the next level of it, right, you guys? Like, that is very, they get to learn what life looks like when you have fun every day. They get to learn that that is allowed, that that is possible, and you can still have success. And especially because their fathers, plural, are not showing them that. Their fathers are showing, like, their fathers are doing, like, yeah, it's playtime when you come to my house, like weekends and whatever, but they're also getting the message from them of, like, work before play. And, there are certain rules to the way that things work in the world that we don't get to bend. And instead, they come home with me, and it's like, actually, we get to bend all the fucking rules. We get to change anything we want to change. We get to have it be how we want it to be. We get to create the experiences that we want to have, and we get to do it now, and we don't have to wait till we're fucking bazillionaires. Pardon my language. But just, I'm so freaking grateful that I get to teach my kids this. They get to grow up knowing that it's possible to live life this way, and that it doesn't have to be miserable drudgery every day, all of your life, especially as an adult. That they get to see their mom, like, play and just be goofy, and let them be goofy without being like, hey, you're annoying, or let them be goofy without putting a time limit on it, or, whatever the case may be. This was inwardly frustrating and outwardly a magical day that my kids got to experience, right? So it came with both. And for me, yes, there was that inward frustration, but there was also the joy and the bliss of watching my kids just be so fucking happy. And you guys, I swear like a sailor. So just, I'm really good with it when my kids are there, mostly. But anyways, so aside from all this, I did have my oldest dad did call to check in, be like, I'm still at the rehab. I haven't, like, taken off, or, whatever, which is what we were hoping for. We want him to be there for, like, a good solid week at least before he goes on to the next thing, and hopefully gets into, like, or sorry, not the rehab, the detox, and then hopefully be there for, like, a week before he goes into the rehab center. And we're hoping he follows the plan that is set out, right? And anyways, he called to check in last night, and I missed the call and just got a voicemail, and I can't call that place. Like, there's no, it comes up as like a no caller ID. You can't dial back. And anyway, so he called today, and or this evening, afternoon, evening. Thankfully, I had Jace was in the car with me, but he had his switch with him, and when he has his switch, he is, like, in his zone and doesn't listen to the outside world. So I was able to have this conversation while I was driving. And um, he had, he checked in, and that was great. One of the things that's been coming up is that he likes to check in because it is, like, his way of reminding people that he's suffering, and that I feel like it's starting to turn into this. So, I took it for what I needed it to be. I took it as, like, yep, you're good, you're safe, you're still doing your thing, good, perfect. But I also had to let him know, and, many people may disagree with me on this, but I'm just going to counter it ahead of time with, you don't know the situation, and that I know what I'm doing. But the conversation that had to be had, because it's the first time I talked to him since the hospital after my kid's birthday party, which feels like a year ago. Like, he has not called. It was always his ex calling, or my daughter calling, or his dad calling, or whatever. So I have not actually spoken to him since I dropped my daughter off at the hospital, before they headed down to where this detox place is. So this was my first opportunity to tell him how upset I am about everything that has happened. And of course, I had now had the time to cool off, and I wasn't, yelling at him, swearing at him, whatever, any of this stuff. But I was able to be like, look, we have all, we have all done everything for you. And I was your last chance. And I just want you to know that you've burned that bridge. And I had to tell him this because he needs to know he has no more bridges to burn and that he has nowhere else to go and that he literally at this point is homeless until he gets his shit together. So he was staying with us and he broke the one rule that I had given him with the drinking and broke rules I hadn't even given him that shouldn't have needed to be given, right, in driving my daughter. All of these things, but also, and I don't even remember, you guys, if I've mentioned this on any of the previous episodes. So if I'm repeating myself, I apologize. It's applicable though. So when I came home from, or not, I didn't actually notice it that first night, but after dropping my daughter off at the hospital on Saturday after the birthday party, and then came home with the younger kids and whatever, and we all went to bed. The next day, um, the kids went downstairs to play, and I went down, and my office, like how I have it set up, I have like foam nailed in and like stuck onto the walls and stuff because I record my podcast in there. Like I made my whole little uh, enclosed space. And then I have like a backdrop, a nice little like tapestry fabric thing that goes on my backdrop for when I'm on video. And it's right beside the kids' playroom. And went down and saw that my office was torn apart. So I had like foam padded stuff nailed to the walls that were ripped out. There was nails and foam like spilling out of my office into the toy room. Um, the tapestry was like hanging down, ripped down. Um, and I have no idea what happened, right? I'm like, what? The kids didn't do this. Like this stuff is right up by the ceiling, like pulled right down. And it was a low ceiling, but not as low as my little kids, right? um, and it was, my best guess is that he had a seizure. I don't know why he was in my office, or he might have just been right beside my office, or excuse me, whatever. But my best guess is that he had a seizure there and grabbed onto it and tore half the shit off the wall. And when he had seizures, he was so out of it, he had no idea, right? He was just like such a mess that he was like, "Where am I? What's happening?" Like, no idea. So not even an angry way at him that my office is torn apart, but it was like, what is happening right now? Why is this torn apart? What is going on? So there was that, which I told him about today, and he was, apologetic and whatever, of course, but it was just like, hey, I just want you to know, like, you had no more bridges to burn. You had nowhere else to go, and I let you come. And this is what you left in your wake. And that was only one thing. So there was also, he had left a vape lying around, which my son got a hold of and was like, "Oh, what's this?" and playing with it. And I was like, "Give me that! Oh my gosh!" And then my daughter found, which he had left behind, full of empty bottles and an opioid overdose kit. So here in Canada, they give out to like anybody. They have like um, I don't really know what it's called. It's like a kit that you like. It has a few needles in it. It has the little vials in it that you fill the needles with. That you would inject if somebody's an overdose. If they're, um, it has become enough of a problem with opioids that they are giving these out now for free so that anybody can sort of help somebody who's in that sort of crisis state. And he had one of these kits in that backpack. So 3 needles and the drugs to go with them for that. Now, this is not saying that he didn't have street drugs in there. but he had this opioid kit with needles that my kids could totally access. It was just out in the living room, right beside the toy area, um, and as well as several empty vodka bottles. So it went beyond just the fact that he broke my rule about no drinking while he was here. It was he destroyed my office. He left paraphernalia in my house. I have 3 young children who do not need to see, let alone touch or find or pick up any of those things. Um, and it just there was so much more, such a deeper level to it, right? And I had to tell him today, um, just so you know, you can't come back here. That's not an option for you. And um, I had to say it in a way that's like, this is it. Like, there's no more. You're not going to convince me of it. It's not going to be like, oh, I've been sober for a week. I'm going to come over. Like, you're not allowed in my house until further notice, right? And of course, if he cleans up his shit and he's sober for a good long stretch and all of the things, and then we can look at that again. But he can't live here. He can't stay here. He can't visit here. And that was really hard to say. It was really hard to say. Because I'm not one to give up on anybody, and telling him at the same time, like, I'm here for you. Like, you can talk to me energetically. Like, I'm backing you. I believe that you can do this. I hope for the best for you. I'm praying for the best for you. All of these types of things, but you can't come back to my house. You can't. You're not allowed here anymore because of, especially the paraphernalia. That was my biggest. Like, he can't help if he had a seizure and destroyed my office. That's a little bit different, but like the paraphernalia, very uncool, right? Very much so far past the line that you can't see the line anymore. As far as my world goes, I do not have these things in my house. This is not. I don't drink. I don't have anything against people who drink in general, but for an alcoholic, that's just the total opposite end of the spectrum from me. Um, and yeah, so I had to have that conversation today, and that was really fucking hard. And that was, I had to tell him, like, I don't think you're actually aware, and this, I had figured it out by piecing together all of the stories from all the different people. I said, I don't think you're aware of how many seizures you actually had, because in the first day, there was at least the 2 at my house. There was, I'm assuming, I have to assume that was a seizure in my office. And I also know that his ex found him on the floor in my garage, so he had one there. And then he had one in her car and then he had one in the ambulance, and then he had one in the hospital. That's 5 in one day. And that was just the first day, and he was still having seizures for the next 2 days. So I said to him, and I had to be very blunt about it, that by all accounts, he has no more chances, not just with not having a place to go and being literally homeless at this point, unless he stays at the rehab place, which he can, as well as, he has no more chances to fall off the wagon. He's going to die if he does again. And like, just cold hard fact, so many seizures like that, his body shutting down the way that it was. He needed help in the washroom. He needed help in the shower. He was throwing up black bile. Like, all of these things that, by all accounts, as in doctors, web searches, friends of friends, and actual friends who have been through these things before, who are like, 4 in a day, yeah, you don't have any more chances. And I'm like, oh, there was actually 5 the first day, there was more the other day. Like, we're talking like 10 seizures or somewhere about there, right? And I said it to him, just plain and simple. You are, you don't have that choice anymore. You do it again, you die. And you don't have the option of coming here anymore. And this is all really hard and feels really shitty to say, and feels really shitty to say, especially when you are just in detox and you are not even really in recovery yet, and all of these things. But it needs to be said, and I need you to know where I stand. Uh, and then, like, yes, please keep checking in, keep letting me know that you're alive, I will keep passing your messages on that you love her to Cadence and all of that. But this is the line, and I just need you to know that it's there and whatnot. So that was really hard. That was a really hard conversation. And then just uh with the rest of the day and how much of everything else it's like, okay, okay, I'm done. Um, so I had nothing left in me as far as work went. My brain was fried. So I did a ton of laundry, and I did dishes, and we cleaned the house, and I stripped one of the kids' beds, and they're sharing a bed tonight, and just all the things. Because they are going to be going camping next week and be gone for a week, and my oldest is going to go with my mom instead of camping with her dad. And I'm going to have the place to myself, but I need to not have like a month's worth of trauma and disaster as a mess in my house when I have a week to myself, my only week of the year. So we spent a good chunk of time doing that. I spent a good chunk of time folding laundry, listening and catching up to Jess's Inevitable Dreams recordings, and just allowing myself to be again and just be in the processing energy and kind of like listen to music and just um I haven't really hit a great big sob fest. I don't know that I will. It's not really my MO. Um I've had a few times that I've broken into tears and let them flow for a minute or two, whatever. And that's really all that comes through for me. And that is probably from a lot of years of suppressing my emotions. But that is me allowing it at this point, and that's all that comes. And very, very few and far between are the times that it lasts longer than that. So just letting that happen when it happens, and letting my mind wander and feel and think and process all of the things that have happened, and trying to take care of my body, trying to take care of my kids, trying to take care of my home. And again, leaning into that trust of I'm exactly where I need to be. And absolutely, especially today, of all of these days, letting myself and my children feel what we want to create, because we really leaned into that today. And that felt a lot better. So there was the hard moments of the day, but there was also a lot of really lighthearted and fun and just absolute blissful joy for the kids kind of energy, and me by extension. So being the adult and knowing what else is going on in the background, I wasn't quite as fully in it as I could have been, but I was in it enough to feel it and have it be sort of a balm, like soothe all of the trauma over the last few days. That's where I'm at. And I am losing my voice, and I hope that it gets a little better here. Trying to uh, just go easy on myself. So I really don't want to spend the week that my kids are gone sick. So I'm not gonna overdo it before they go. And yeah, just want to say thank you to everyone who listens, especially through these sort of more traumatic days, through the trigger warning days. I know that they're heavy and they're a lot. So if you've held the space for them and listened to them, I appreciate it. And I I hope that you all know that I am also a space that you can come and share about things like that for yourself. I know that some of you know that very, very well, and you come to me when you're in need of it. And that lightens my heart. That makes me feel so happy because um, nobody should ever have to deal with all these traumas and keep it silent and bury it. And I did that for way too many years. So I try to be the space that people can come to when I can energetically hold it. And so I really appreciate anyone and everyone who listens to these episodes and holds that space for me. Um, and everything's looking up from here. So trail end, right? I said this again yesterday, but the trail end of the electrons, and we're down to the last 2 days of school, tomorrow and Thursday, and then Friday is the first day of summer, and um, and then by Saturday, and I'm not 100% sure for Cadence, but for the younger two, by Saturday they're going to be gone camping for like a week and a half, and Cadence will be gone shortly thereafter, and um, really looking forward to some peace and quiet and no upheaval and all of it. So I also am very much looking forward to, and it's so funny because I don't even know if I've mentioned this yet, just because of everything else that has been going on. So July 2nd and 3rd, I am running my Activate event, which is just a beautiful, beautiful activation of to connect with and reach your highest available timeline, um, so that you're jumping up a level, right? You're jumping up or several levels. Because the energies right now, despite all of this that's been going on, the energies right now are very accelerated. So there's a lot of like manifesting is happening very, very quickly. Um, Healing is happening very, very quickly. Trauma is happening very, very quickly. Everything is accelerated. So all of this stuff that's been coming in for me, I've been seeing it through that lens of like, yep, this, it was going to be nasty. And so it's really, really nasty, and it's really, really heavy, and it's really, really traumatic and all of that because everything is just so accelerated. Everything is um, so intense and fast paced and just so much right now. So what we're doing with the Activate event is we are taking advantage of those energies, and we are aligning with our highest possible timelines. And then we're going to actually, it's a 2-day event. So that will be the first day. And the second day, we're actually going to do a breakdown of how to like create the map of how to integrate that up level into your life. And I'm super, super excited about that. And then actually going forward from that, for anyone who's interested, there's an optional upgrade of a 30-day group coaching container, where I will take you through your map that you create on day 2, and you will implement. So super, super excited about all of those things. I will drop the links for those, so that anyone who's interested can join and get on that super accelerated manifesting and momentum train that is happening right now, because why not take advantage of that energy while it's here? And as well, I have my Wild Feminine Leaders Inner Circle coming starting at the end of July, and I'm so, so excited about that. And I have so much work to do for all of these things because I'm so behind on work. So it's coming. It's all coming in, and I haven't lost steam or excitement for the projects that I'm working on. They're still just amazing. Um, and that's what really tells me, right? That's what really gives me that, like, my success is inevitable. My success is here. All of these things, these electrons, all of these traumas that are happening, all of it is exactly, exactly what needs to be happening. Because if all of this was happening in a more drawn out, slow, whatever way, um, then it would still end up happening during these events. It would still be tainting everything during those times, where now it's like, it was a lot. It was really intense. It was just boom, boom, boom all at once. But now it's done. And I get to go forward without that looming. And that is very, very exciting. So my success is inevitable. My success is here. despite all of it. And I am exactly where I'm supposed to be. And I am, as I said, for myself and for my children, choosing to feel what I want to create and allowing them to choose to feel what they want to create in their lives and loving every blissful minute of that. So thank you again for listening through all of the traumas, and hopefully back to completely normal tomorrow in tomorrow's episode. But thank you for holding space for that. So love you all, and I will talk to you tomorrow.